What's happening, everybody? It's Thursday night, Star Wars What If time. We did our Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday open table D&Ds. It is time for Star Wars What If. Players are assembling into the game and the chat right now as we speak. What's happening out there in Streamland? Hope you're all having a great day. And of course, you know me, Tragically HP, coming to you live from the 100th Meridian, where the Great Plains begin. And in the voice chat, we have some of our friends already gathered. How's it going?
Yo.
Going all right.
Low.
Hey.
Howdy, strangers.
Hey.
Let's see. Did we get... I think we're missing a couple people here, but it's been kind of sketchy as far as who's in, who's not, who's interested, etc. For tonight, looks like 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, Whip told me that his internet is giving trouble right now. He's got really bad storms right there. So we may not see him, and Argument Essay, I'm not exactly sure where they joined us from. They expressed interest. Possibly we'll see them, possibly not, but in any case...
I think that's one of my Facebook people.
What's that?
I think that's one of my Facebook people.
Oh, okay, very cool. Yeah, in any case, let's at least continue from last week and see where we are at here with character creation. My character not quite so necessary. Looks like your character's coming together pretty well there, Saz.
Thanks. Just gotta get his gear set up now.
Starbucks delivery right to the door. What a country. Let us see. Yep. Oh, very cool. I didn't even notice that they had enabled dark mode on these character sheets. That's pretty handy.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah. Let me get a volume test from you there. Says you're coming in a little low today. Okay. Good enough.
Solid use for group chat there, guys.
What?
Solid use of voice chat.
Yes. Oh, and Sean's bringing in a female Trandoshan. Very interesting. It's not the,
It's a lizard with boobies.
I forget her name. It's not the character from the, Bad Batch TV show, is it?
No, I haven't seen that one.
No worries. Be streaming all that stuff again here pretty soon in the Discord channel once we get the schedule hammered out a little bit more. And let's see, for Amber. Looking all right. Oh, and there goes the music. Damn playlist. And a human soldier. Human Trandoshan. A second human. Wow, how about that? Can't remember when we had a Star Wars campaign that had some humans in it.
It is the most common race in the galaxy.
Very true.
I didn't want to go complex because I'm not up to date on the lore, so I wanted to go kind of basic.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, Bad Batch is pretty great. I am, I want to say 2 episodes behind, and I got the huge spoiler as far as what happens at the end of Season 2, so I'm like, well, I guess I can kind of hold off on waiting now, since there's, I'm sure other things happen in the episode, but... Doe! What's happening there, Fringe? How you doing there? How's it going? Looks like the music is kicking into extra volume here. Gonna have to crank that down a little bit more. Alright, so what do we have left as far as character creation goes? I know we were chatting about things in the Discord.
I know Saz needed help with the starter gear.
Yeah, I need to get my gear finished up.
Well, let's just see about that. No weapons, no armor. Scouts, I imagine, have some limitations as armor is concerned.
If I recall correctly, when I was looking it up, I think scouts just start with the heavy clothes. I don't think they even start with armor.
Yeah, it doesn't look like they have any armor proficiency feats. They have 3 weapon profs for show. But that's okay, because Star Wars Saga Edition does have... it's got a mechanic in place for where if your character is not wearing armor, it's not the worst thing in the world. Of course, you're not going to see every Jedi running around with armor, so not a terrible thing to not have proficiency or be without armor. Weaponry, however, different matter.
Yeah, we gotta get that sorted. But I had a feeling when I was looking at that something like Morrowind's unarmored stat.
For show.
Not had the same name, but
Yeah, something similar to that. Like your character's already got a 15 reflex defense wearing no armor at all, purely based off of your level and your dexterity. And every level you go up, I think it's every 2 levels you get an extra 1 point bump to all your defenses. So there comes a point in the system where if your character is all about armor, you want to take the feats and the talents to bolster that, because eventually your level is going to outpace the armor bonuses in and of themselves. But I know you were talking about a specific weapon from the Clone Wars book, yeah?
yeah.
What was the name of the weapon? I'm sure we can just find it online here, otherwise I'll go grab my book.
The DC-17M.
Let us see. Fandom. Yes, yes, yes. Homebrew content.
That one.
I must be missing where you posted something.
Oh, in the Game Zone channel chat. Sorry.
No worries.
It is a rifle, correct?
Yes.
Here we go. I think this is going to take me to the same page that I'm on here. That's not helpful. That's just the stats in the legend canon, but nothing mechanical. Okay, the one I found here, though, I think will work a little bit better. Well, this is a very complex weapon due to its alternating stats here, so it's not that it can't be taken, it's just that it's going to require a few entries on your character sheets here.
Yeah, I figured it would take up the any of the weapon slots he had.
Because this right here...
And I figure also that it's probably in an incomplete state too. Probably just in its basic mode right now.
For
You have
sure.
to acquire the rest of the components.
Gotcha. Well, that does make everything that I posted here easier. It's broken into the 5 different blocks here, and I'm guessing only the first one is going to be applicable. The blaster rifle attachment.
Yeah, figure something along those
60
lines for the start.
shots after 300 shots. Damage 3/8, yes. So as far as this is concerned, it's basically identical to a standard blaster rifle, but of course additional modifications and upgrades throughout the course of the campaign. So if we're adding this in... type is energy. Attack, we're using your dexterity. Damage 3/8. Stun option, okay.
Also, with its modular nature, it also means that if he is able to, he has some technology and galactic lore as well as mechanics. He could probably end up brute forcing components from a different sniper rifle into making a new version of the sniper mod.
Very true. For
Yeah,
sure.
mechanics are good. That's what you use for demolition.
And there's a demo charge launching mode. Basically, yeah, there's like an anti-armor explosive attachment mod. Like if you played Republic Commando,
Yeah. I was so
Remember the-
stoked to find that is available on my Xbox Series 1, so I think I picked it up for like
Yes.
$5. I'm like, I'm gonna play this again someday.
yeah, I figure he can he'll eventually have both of the other types as well as the standard blaster mode for it, but if he has to, he can make those components himself or make them out of broken components he finds or something.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
in case
very
he's not able to
possible.
find the originals.
Yeah, depending on what we find in game for show, I'm sure that's gonna fuel all manner of storylines here. But check your character sheet there. The weapon has at least been added, and you can click that little D20 to the left of it, and just like the D&D character sheets, that's how you roll your attack.
Oh, I like it. Thank you.
Easy peasy. The only difference is we have to manually input the information instead of drag dropping it from the character mancer, because there is no such thing here. Saga does not have the support of D&D, sadly.
That's okay.
What else as far as gear?
Well,
looks like we need
I-
hit points for your character too. Otherwise, you're gonna be dropping real quick.
I had a listing of potential gear, but something went wrong with the file, and I would have to go back through. Is there a way I can get like mechanics, like equipment for like a yeah, it's not coming out right.
Like a
Like
toolbox.
toolkit?
Yeah, things like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, stuff like that. Maybe some like shaped charges or something, things like that. Various. I had a listing of potential things, and I lost it. File corrupted. This thing's getting glitchy, so I may have to. I may be in trouble. If Roll20 doesn't work on Linux, I'm gonna be in trouble here.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I'll put it that way. If it doesn't work there, I'm gonna be in trouble when I have to jump ship over to my Steam Deck for this.
Yeah,
Oh.
there's a toolkit.
I don't see
specifically
why not.
available for
Website.
$250.
Okay, well that's good.
Yeah, I got a toolkit added to your sheet here. I can throw
Thank
on
you.
some frag grenades too.
Oh, that works. Yeah, one can always make
C200.
makeshift door charges with an adhesive.
There are explosive charges, but they cost $1,500 each.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, if you get some duct tape and a frag grenade, you can still blow a door away with that. Oh, there's a mod for Fallout 4 where you can just do that exact same thing.
We could even give him a thermal detonator.
No.
Yes, give it to
Detonite
Angry
is a,
Space Rabbit.
Anything's better than
Detonite is a little more cost-effective at 500, but you need a way to trigger it, and that costs another 100.
Right. And how much is starting credit value there, Mike?
It kind of depends on your class. You have to roll for it.
Gotcha. Well, let's just add on a couple items here, and then we'll roll up your Republic credits are no good here, and we'll check it from there.
Thank you.
I just noticed on Twitch you took off your helmet. This is not the way.
Can't drink this coffee otherwise, dude. What?
You need an emergency induction port.
What I'm disappointed about is last week I kept this thing up almost the whole time, and I even found a way to get a frickin' toke through the pipe, through the mesh helmet. Nobody said a damn word. Okay, so we got some frag grenades tossed on there for you. Let's see. Alright. Let's get credits rolled up. Has anybody else not rolled up their credits?
I have rolled up my credits and I got all my stuff, so you can focus on everyone else.
Well, that's handy. For you, Saz, we're going to roll 3 die 4 and times it by 250. That will be your starting credit value.
Okay. So,
So it
and
looks
what was
like-
the second number?
250. So it looks like you're starting with 1250, which, based off of the gear we already have, is going to tap you out. So that's easy.
So basically 0 credits. At the end, right?
Exactly. I was thinking maybe you would start with more than that and have a little bit extra after the 2 items we picked, but that's pretty much right there on the money.
Yeah, it's all so
Oh, wow.
expensive.
Hey,
Don't start out
that's
with
good.
much.
I've got like 15 credits left.
Yeah, and just be glad that your starting equipment isn't necessarily subject to the knowledge bureaucracy checks and what have you that in-game acquisitions require, because that's where it starts to get really ridiculous, trying to go through the proper authorities, getting the licenses, or if you can't go that route, going the black market, no license at all, but paying like 5 times what the fucking thing is worth.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, Star Wars is pretty brutal with their economy, largely because there's no magic item economy, so everything that you can get your hands on has a restriction classification, whether it's civilian common, whether it's military, whether it's restricted beyond that to where, like, if you're caught with this, you're in a lot of fucking trouble. Thermal detonators fall in that classification. Okay, so we got yours. I know Mike is done with all of his stuff, right?
Yeah, just looking to see if there's anything else I can get with my last 100 credits.
Nice, same dealio for Sean. How about you there, Amber?
I think I'm good, but if you want to give it a second look and make sure I didn't miss anything.
Show. Wow, and if I'm not mistaken, we don't have a single Force user in this group yet.
Not yet.
Very interesting. I think I'll bring Ray into the group, and then the whole focus of the campaign will be people either praising or bashing her at every possible turn.
Boo.
Poor Daisy. Okay, and then
Well, there goes half your viewers.
yep, there they go. That's right. Just in case in case there's any miscommunication, Star Wars only existed from 77 to 83. The last 40 years, it didn't happen. So if you have been alive or experienced any of that over the last 40 years and enjoy it, you're not a real Star Wars fan. He said passive aggressively. So starting hit points for your scout here, Saz, you are beginning with 24 hit points plus your con modifier, which is not exactly sure, but 24 is a nice little bit to start off with. 24, you 25, so that'd be your starting hit points.
Alright.
So 25 in the current, 25 in the total. And then you should be good to go in that.
I'm
Fine
squishy as hell.
words.
Minus 18.
18 for a scoundrel. Yikes. Is that right?
My con modifier is 0, so I think so.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, 18 plus con mod. Ouch.
So 25 HP, right?
Yes, sir.
Just gotta figure out where it is on here.
Force points. Okay, on your character sheets where the destiny point block is located, everybody tab that up 1. You will be Starting with 1 destiny point. And checking that, okay.
Where's HP listed on here so I can put that in?
Should be like near the top center, just under your...
The middle column at the top.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, just
Sorry,
under
what about
your bio.
HP?
Let's see. What is, I'm sure you've already got yours down. Yeah, your HP's good. 31 out of 31. Okay. Very good. Destiny point, you got that as well. Base attack bonus, very good. Dark side points, that's entirely up to you. If you want your character to start off possibly a little tainted with a little bit of an edge, just keep in mind that the dark side conversion mechanic, and I believe this really only applies truly to force sensitive characters, is once your dark side point total equals your character's wisdom score, your character's considered to be dark. If you're not a force sensitive, it's kind of just a flavor text on top of that, like, yeah, this guy's bad. But if you're a dark side character or a force user, then of course there's mechanical implications as well. You can't use light side powers as well, you use dark side powers better, etc. Not necessarily anything we need to worry about in that respect. But if anybody does want to start off with dark side points, totally player's option. Defenses, skills, everything.
What if I have 9,000?
Well, good God, how many frickin' planets did you destroy?
We're fine as long as it doesn't go over 9,000, I think.
9,001!
Okay.
And then Sean.
At this point, it's basically this rabbit. It looks like it's been drawn by Rob Liefeld. Is covered in pouches and carrying bloody knives everywhere, and it's just glaring at everything.
Little fix there on Sean's character sheet. And then, of course, you'll need to rename the character as well, unless your character is named Sean, of course. Looks good, looks good. Wow, Sean got all the gear.
Yeah, I got the field kit. I would have gotten the utility belt too, but didn't have enough money for that.
Gotcha, no worries. Can always acquire some cool stuff in-game. Alright, I think we've got enough to work with. Big thing you'll want to pay attention to on your character sheet, since you do not get the benefit of automatic level ups through the Charactermancer, is pretty much all the information in that second horizontal bar on your character sheet, underneath your class, level, gender, species, all that stuff. Everything there is kind of subject to change, and some of it's going to automatically move depending on your level ups. But things like force points, BAB, which is your base attack bonus, things like that are not going to refresh at the rate they should. So especially if you're playing a soldier type character or anybody who relies on base attack bonus, make sure you're tracking that in accordance with your character sheet. Otherwise, you'll be missing a lot of shit that you should be hitting. That all looks good. Alright, I think we got characters in place. We do have a astromech as well, who I believe was going to be attached with... Oh man, who was our pilot character? Or characters?
I'm a pilot.
I think we have an astromech attached to your character then, Amber. Which, of course, we'll flesh that out more next week when, not Wild Bob, but Whip Around is able to hopefully rejoin us. And did we lose somebody here? Yeah, we lost Sean from the Roll20. Alright, well, now that we've got character sheets at least crafted for the most part, let's discuss who these characters are that we're playing in as much detail as we can. And from there, kind of work out, do any of our characters know each other to start? Are we just kind of too opposing to have that be a reality at the start of the campaign, and we should kind of contrive some plot to bring you all together? What you all think in that respect? Who wants to go first and tell us about your character?
I can, I guess.
Alright.
I like it.
Alrighty, so I'm going to be playing as Car Foraz. He came from agriculture world. He was a farmer, and not enjoying that, he decided to become a soldier and joined the Core World Confederacy. Wasn't much of a marksman, so he was put into heavy weapons training at first, but quickly after that, he was pulled by his instructor when his instructor saw that he had a natural talent for martial arts. And he's a big, strong guy. He likes to work out in his off time, so it makes sense. And he got trained in shockboxing and some like unarmed martial arts. Shockboxing, I don't know if everybody knows, but it's basically boxing with electric gloves, and they go anywhere from stun to lethal on their energy output range. And after some shit went down, he got kicked out of the military, and now he's working for an unnamed company as a freelancer.
All right, and let's pass it over next here to Nisha. Anything you want to tell us about your character?
I gotta wind up for a second. Can someone else go? Sorry.
Yeah, show. Sean, you want to go next?
Yeah, my character is Voth. She's a female Trandoshan. She is there's not much to say about her. She's a soldier. She was a part of the defense forces on Trandosha, and she is trying to. And after she did her contract, she decided that after she did her enlistment contract, she decided to become a free agent, and this is probably going to be her first. This is probably going to be her first job as a mercenary.
Interesting. And how about you, Amber?
I'm playing Tress. She's a human. She used to be a pilot. Her father was a pilot, so she followed in his footsteps. But her ship got stolen, and she ended up turning to a life of crime, mercenary work, bounty hunting, that kind of thing.
Very nice. Yeah, sure, Saz. Go ahead, type it out there. That's cool.
Quick question while they do that. What determines
Sure.
what languages you know?
I believe your intelligence modifier. Otherwise, I think there's a feat, a linguist feat or something in that respect that gives you extra languages. I could be getting my systems mixed up too, though. let's just check the index.
Oh, yep, I see linguist feat requires intelligence 13.
Oh, good. All right. Not entirely out of it then. And let's just check some shit here. Oh, well, okay. Looks like your your push to talk is stuck there, Sean.
Yeah, I just want to let you know, modem is down here. I don't know what I'm doing. You might have to roll for me.
Gotcha. No worries, man. I mean, we're still kind of in creation, setting details and all that stuff tonight. We'll see just how far we get, but hopefully as long as you're able to still chat with us.
Okay.
So, weather acting up over there? Getting a little windy?
Actually, no. I don't know what's going on. It was, you remember, east of the 15, it was, the Cox was down earlier today, and I guess it's sweeping west.
Weird. Yeah, I had, you were part of that last night when I was trying to do the Galaxy of Heroes stream. Like, nothing was connecting at all, and my modems were all reading well. But then I tried to go out and watch TV after that, and Peacock, Pluto, Netflix, Disney Plus, like nothing would load up. So I grabbed a DVD and stuck it in the Blu-ray player and said, "You can't keep me down, motherfuckers!" Death to lizard folk. Oh, you're being dubbed an evil Wookiee killer there, Sean. Dang Trandoshans. Nisha is a scout. Worked for concerned individuals looking for people in debt. Eventually grew tired of work, leading to broken legs and the like. Managed to get out. So far, he is on the lookout for anybody else who may be from Nar Shaddaa, which is, fortunately, one of the worlds that is still intact over in this sector. Nal Hutta was not spared the wrath of Darth Nihilus, but Nar Shaddaa... Actually, no, Nar Shaddaa was likewise fucked up. It is Rorak, the small planet here at the Hyperlane intersection, that is still intact. Nar Shaddaa is slowly rebuilding itself. The planet wasn't destroyed. Its citizens were just eaten, essentially, by Darth Nihilus like a century or so ago. So all the infrastructure and all that is still in place. It's just that it's not the place that it used to be that we're used to in, like, episodes 4, 5, 6. Hutt Space got hit pretty badly by Darth Nihilus. I mean, all those delectable fat slugs, he was just having a fucking field day over here. He was loving it. Delicious. No reason your character can't be from Nar Shaddaa, though. It's not that the planet, again, it's not that the planet doesn't exist. It's just not what it once was. It's slowly rebuilding as more and more people start to rehabitate, so to speak. The tiny planet that is still intact here is Rorak. No worries, man. I jacked this galaxy up. I've been destroying this galaxy for the better part of 20 years, so a lot of shit different. Quite happy, though, with the amount of destruction Darth Nihilus was able to wage across this galaxy. A lot of red planets. All thanks to him. And just in that respect, this could go on for a while. I don't really have anything planned per se here, but just to kind of hit some of the major notes as far as how this campaign setting is different than the established Star Wars canon. course, the farther back we go, the less details are necessary or even available these days. But for the curious minds, episode 1 went very much the same as we experienced in the movie. The primary difference is that when we got to the end lightsaber duel between Qui-Gon and Darth Maul and Obi-Wan, Darth Maul killed both of them. So that kind of set up a bit of a different plot for us, or so I thought, because almost immediately thereafter, as Darth Maul was kidnapping Queen Amidala and trying to escort her to a different place, the party of characters intervened and killed Darth Maul. So it was kind of weird.
Yeah, escape fate, I guess.
Exactly. That was our first instance of George Lucas has a microphone and a camera in on our games, and he's manipulating the dice rolls to be exactly how he wants them. Episode 2, we had a lot of things different. One of our player character, Jedi, in fact took over the training of Anakin, and with the hopes of turning things a little differently, primarily not being as restrictive as Obi-Wan, especially when it came to Anakin's mother still behind on Tatooine. This did make this character a better friend and brother to Anakin than even Obi-Wan, if such a thing is possible. But it did create a conflict of interest between this Jedi and the Jedi Council, which was just always a matter of butting heads, especially in the middle of the Clone Wars, the dark side of the Force shrouding everything, nobody really sure what's heads, what's tails. And as we got to the end of the Clone Wars into Episode 3, we began to see the emergence of a plot that I had been building in the background ever since Episode 1, because keep in mind, this campaign was created in my head in 2003. First tabletop playing was in 2005. The initial concept that inspired all of this is, what if Darth Maul killed Obi-Wan Kenobi in Episode 1? So, to lose Darth Maul that quickly was kind of counterproductive to my overall purpose, but I didn't want to cheese it too much, so I went the Sith magic route as a means of restoring Darth Maul back to the Star Wars mythos here. And this act of revival and powerful Sith magic, coming from Naboo, mind you, because this is where Darth Maul's body and spirit was left, was sufficient to trigger Palpatine's attention. So he traveled to find out what this source of dark magic was, and found a Sith ghost who was essentially rallying Sith spirits to itself for its own purposes, and Palpatine, of course, realizing this is not what I want at all. And Palpatine, being the badass that he is, destroyed the Sith spirits, and realizing that one of them, however, was his former apprentice, Darth Maul. And we did kind of gloss over exactly how Maul transformed from spirit back into physical form. I do have details on that in the background, but we haven't ever explored it in-game. Not as important nowadays. But with Darth Maul revived and now kind of on the in with Palpatine and knowing all of the plans about the Clone Wars, etc., Maul was a bit craftier, kind of realizing, well, I'm just a pawn in all of this, and there's nothing preventing Palpatine from betraying me at some point. So he's got his eye on this Jedi named Skywalker. So in a bit of a shock, Maul actually approaches Anakin near the tail end of the Clone Wars and spills everything. Tells him the entire story of what's going on. Palpatine is the Sith Lord. He's manipulating all of these events. You can go tell the Jedi right now. Here's why you shouldn't. ABC, here's all of the different ways this could go. I wrote out pages and pages of cutscenes that detailed this discussion between Anakin and Maul, eventually ending with Maul playing on Anakin's weakness, that he's going to attempt to use your love for Padme to manipulate you to the dark side. I'm telling you this ahead of time in the hopes that maybe the two of us can kind of form an alliance and take this Sith out of the equation. So when we get to the very end of Episode 3, after Order 66 and all of our Jedi are gone, the final duel does end up being Maul and Anakin versus Palpatine. And in a bit of similar you can't escape fate, Palpatine did damage Anakin sufficiently to where when we get to the next trilogy, Anakin is in a state where he has to be in the armor just to keep him alive. Episodes 4, 5, 6, the primary difference, the Sith Council. There is not an Emperor. Darth Maul and Darth Vader have assembled a council of 4 additional Sith. There are 6 Sith in total that are running the Empire, the day-to-day operations of the galaxy. To the galaxy in general, Palpatine is still alive because Maul is using Sith magic to create the illusion of Palpatine's presence. Maul will step out in front of the rotunda, but with Palpatine's guys in front of him via magic. Because Palpatine had created too much infrastructure to eliminate him entirely, we still needed to kind of keep him around in some respect. Our Rebellion heroes got into it with this Sith Council very early on in Episode 4, encountering Darth Vader aboard the first Death Star. And one major change that we had experienced, again going back to the prequels, was once Padme became aware of just how dark Anakin was, there was no, I love you too much to let this come between us. It was very much like, oh fuck, he's killing kids? I'm pregnant. I have kids. So this is not somebody I want to be around. So she and Yoda actually, and they're gone. So in that 20 years between 3 and 4, Vader is very much on the hunt for Padme, and he does eventually find her, and he does kill her. But not before she's able to split up the twins, albeit at a bit of an older age than in the original trilogy. They have memories of being with Padme, and in Luke's case in particular, he is trained as a Jedi from a very early age, and he knows who Darth Vader is, and he knows what Darth Vader did to his mom. So when we get to Episode 4 on the Death Star, we don't have Obi-Wan anymore. He's not there to fend off Darth Vader and the Stormtroopers so everybody can escape on the Falcon. Luke charges in and fights his dad, and we rolled that shit up at the tabletop, and it was the most epic clash of they both struck each other in the same round and reduced each other to 0 hit points. So father and son killed each other on the spot in the first Death Star.
Alrighty.
Our episodes 5 and 6, more or less as they occur in the movies, the primary difference, of course, being the presence of the Sith Council as the overarching aim of the Empire, which the characters are opposing at every turn. And we can see here the sad state of the forest moon of Endor following the second Death Star battle, where it was destroyed entirely. It's one of the few planets that has a black circle around it, indicating destruction by one of the 2 Death Stars. Alderaan and Endor may be the only 2 that just don't exist at all anymore. Episode 7 and beyond is where things really began to take a turn, because by that point, the sequel trilogy is starting to come out, but I am also a huge fan of the original Legends stories and have long had plans of eventually building the story into this state. But I also liked what they were doing with the sequel trilogy as well, so we did a kind of hybrid, more or less, where we had the Imperial Remnant, the First Order, the Resistance, the New Republic, the Mandalorians, and various other independent factions scattered throughout the galaxy in our Episode 7 era, which, going back to the Dark Empire series, was all about cloning Palpatine. A lot of people didn't like that in Episode 9. Does, in fact, have a long history of lore in the Star Wars mythos, so didn't quite come out of left field like some people like to think. But that did take us here to the deep core, where our characters still continuing from Episodes 4, 5, and 6, so we've got a pretty badass band of heroes at this point. They are somehow Maul returned. We are dealing with our characters trying to stop the resurrection of Palpatine, but not realizing at this point that a series of mini campaigns that I had run with 5 different groups of characters in the Outer Rim had actually seen the resurrection of Darth Nihilus. So, unbeknownst to us, here in the deep core, we are all kinds of happy that we are finally doing away with the Emperor, when suddenly here comes Darth Nihilus into the mix, right around the same time as Grand Admiral Thrawn returns with the Imperial Remnant. Epic space battles. I've never had maps this large, 200 by 200 squares of space battles, truly awesome stuff. Characters maybe didn't like them as much, but visually there was no real comparison. And Episode 7 more or less saw the resolution of the political squabbles in the galaxy. The either joining of the Resistance and the New Republic, or the destruction of the Imperial Remnant and the retreat of the First Order to come back at another time. Episode 8 was all Darth Nihilus. One villain that just could not be touched. He would appear and vanish, seemingly inexplicably. There was no negotiating with him. He had no interest in conversing or dialogue. His only purpose was to devour the entire galaxy. And his Force resistances made him quite possibly the toughest foe we have ever faced in Star Wars What If. But at the planet of Tangreen, all the way up here, Darth Nihilus's reign did finally come to an end, and we finally got a period of peace in the Star Wars galaxy, considering Episodes 1, 2, 3, all about the Clone Wars, 4, 5, 6, the Galactic War, 7, the resolution of this war, and finally a seeming breath, and then here comes this fucking Sith Lord. It just one conflict after another, to where we finally have a period of peace for about 20 years or so, until we get to Episode 9, which is where the Yuuzhan Vong come in. And unfortunately, Episode 9 is the only unplayed campaign of the Star Wars What If, and as I take 50% of the responsibility for that, I give the other 50% to the group of players at the time who just could not stop complaining about everything Star Wars. It got so effing old. And after failing to come to any real compromise in or out of game with the group, I did probably the most erratic, immature thing that I've ever done at a tabletop setting, and I said, okay, fine, the Yuuzhan Vong win, end of story. And that's why we see the galaxy in the state it is now. The players simply were unwilling to play in a campaign against the Yuuzhan Vong, which left me at a point where I was like, if you're not going to fight against them, then they win. It's as simple as that.
Makes sense to me.
That's kind of how I saw it. What we ended up doing after that, after cooler heads prevailed, was returning about a year and a half later and fast forwarding things about 100 years past episode 9 to all of this stuff is done. All of these conflicts are resolved. Most of these factions, these famous heroes, these legends that we've heard about through all of these episodes who, for one reason or another, have always had a way to kind of reintroduce themselves into the plot. Don't get me started on any time I brought this fucking guy into the plot. Boba Fett's here! Get him! Kill him! He's just fucking standing there. He's not doing it. Kill him! Okay. Okay. Jesus fuck. So we fast forwarded about 100 years to episode 10. I basically called it A New Beginning. And this was a short mini campaign that we played with about 4 or 5 players. And what I did was I took the concept from The World Between Worlds from Rebels, where we see how Ahsoka is, oh my god, and then, oh, holy shit! Not to give away any spoilers, because you never know who's up to date on Rebels and Star Wars, but if you know that there's an Ahsoka show coming out, you probably know the character's still fucking alive, so I take no responsibility for that. But in that concept, I kind of saw the possibility for, alright, let's try to fix this. The galaxy's destroyed, everything's fucked. Of course, episode 10, if you're gonna start everything over again in Star Wars, there's only one fucking place that you can do it. And, oh, nope, that's right. There we go. Tatooine. And it was very much a connection between episode 10 and all of the 9 chapters before it. The only characters that I brought in were R2 and 3PO, and even that in very dilapidated states to where repairs were required just so they could be operational, and then kind of provide a backdrop to this mythos of what had happened historically, because all that most of the galaxy really knew was that the Yuuzhan Vong invasion happened about a century ago, and they just they steamrolled the galaxy. They Vong-formed worlds, they enslaved countless trillions, they sacrificed even more in the names of their unholy gods. And Tatooine is one of the few havens remaining where the Yuuzhan Vong have not touched, possibly because Vong forming a desert isn't high on their priority list. But in this short campaign of episode 10, our characters come into contact with the droids, get their hands on a dilapidated Millennium Falcon, which they must repair and use as their engine for the campaign itself, eventually locating an ancient site of Force power, unlocking the connection to the World Between Worlds. And from there, because I knew that we're coming back to now, how do we solve the Vong conflict, we did everything narratively. Like, how do you guys want to see this happen? Okay, well, here's what the Vong are trying to do, so we're butting heads in this respect. We're going to resolve it with simple rolls of the dice on behalf of the tabletop. And the results of that are the state that we find the galaxy in at this point here for, I don't know if we call it episode 11. Right now I'm just calling it Star Wars What If 2023. The state of the galaxy, we can see any worlds that were devoured by Darth Nihilus. Of course, just as I was saying about Nar Shaddaa, the infrastructure is still intact. It was literally just the people who were taken away. So over the ensuing 125 years or so, these planets were eventually repopulated. Not necessarily all of them. Tangreen has kind of remained a site of pilgrimage for those who just kind of want to honor the countless trillions who Darth Nihilus eradicated in his hunger. Nobody's really ever seen it proper to try to habitate that world. There's also kind of a weirdness about it too, like, is his spirit still lingering around here? Like, yeah, just some people go there for pilgrimage, some people stay away entirely. Any of the Yuuzhan Vong worlds that were destroyed, yes, outright destroyed, whether they crashed a moon into it, whether they destroyed it with one of their planetary super weapons. And then, of course, the difference between that and the Vong-formed worlds, note that they got their hands on Mandalore over there, and Dathomir. A lot of Force-powerful planets the Vong were kind of drawn to reform in their own image. Ossus is one of them, although just because these are Vong-formed worlds does not mean that they are Vong-occupied. Some of them still are, but after the Vong conflict, most of the race rehabitated their sentient planet, which then just hyperdrive into parts unknown. So for the most part, the Yuuzhan Vong are kind of a rarity in the galaxy again. You see their presence more than you see the people themselves. And for the most part also, after the Yuuzhan Vong conflict, one of the ways that we resolved that was as amicably as possible. So the worlds that the Vong had completely eradicated, that the natives to this galaxy kind of wanted restored, the Vong worked side by side with those they were trying to conquer to restore some of these worlds back to as close a state as possible, like Kashyyyk, of course, has been returned to the Wookiees and is not a Yuuzhan Vong world, but there are lots of new plant life and species there that were not present there a couple centuries ago. And just to cover again here, oh, yeah, I think this is in our Discord notes. Core Worlds Confederacy, all that good stuff. Star Wars, is this it? Campaign setup, yes, perfect. Okay. Campaign is intentionally far removed from our last activity in episode 10, which itself was a full century after episode 9. We are effectively 450 years plus after the Battle of Yavin, so any attachment to that long ago era should be mostly non-existent. We shouldn't have a bunch of great repeat ad nausea grandchildren of established characters from the saga. Irrelevant. The central authority in the galaxy is the Core Worlds Confederacy, a regime of Republic sensibilities enforced with Imperial style. The Jedi Order and Imperial Knights, if you don't know about the Imperial Knights, post Return of the Jedi, when the Imperial Remnant was coming back into its own and becoming a real threat, especially under the leadership of Grand Admiral Thrawn, the Imperial Knights were essentially their answer to the Jedi Knights. We're going to find some Force sensitives among our own population, train them up in our style, and we're going to have an answer to the Jedi nuisance. But long ago, these two orders merged their philosophies to become the Disciples, an esoteric group of Force adepts who no longer adhere to a rigid set of principles, but rather a unified understanding of galactic defense if the Force wills it. Given the backdrop of everything I just talked about the last 30-40 minutes, galactic defense is the prime objective of most Force users in this galaxy at this point. This galaxy has just been torn apart so much over the last millennia that, and most of it due to Force sensitives versus Force sensitives. So there's a lot of self-awareness in that respect to where, you know, maybe our adherence to this is what the Force wills isn't necessarily what's best for the galaxy, especially if we're talking about going on the offensive or making changes that are affecting billions of people. let's just play defense here for a century or two and try that for a while, because there's enough people with blasters and political objectives and minds who want to reform this galaxy. Let's kind of see how things go in that respect for a while.
So more of Grey Jedi.
Somewhat in that respect. It's about as close as I will have in that respect. Yeah. The Disciples are not affiliated with the Core Worlds Confederacy. Rather, they live on the old Jedi world of Ossus, its former libraries of galactic knowledge long ago destroyed by the Yuuzhan Vong. So it's basically just a Jedi temple on a lush planet up here on Ossus. Whoop, back over there. It has been centuries since the last galactic conflict when the Vong invaded. Since the conclusion of that era, the Vong and their living world of Zonama Seacot have largely been vacant. The sentient planet vanished to who knows where. There is unrest brewing in the Mandalorian clans as the different Mandawad factions prepare to fill the void left by the assassination of Mandalore Zosh. Each clan is putting up their best warriors to battle for the rights to become the next Mandalore. We're actually exploring that plot primarily in the other Star Wars What If game, which sadly we have not played in about 2 years, but that's what we were doing. Elsewhere in the Outer Rim, the Hutt Empire brutally expands their holdings, enslaving countless billions. The Core Worlds Confederacy has yet to deploy any military to counter this threat, and the Hutts grow further emboldened by the lack of resistance. However, the Outer Rim is not part of the Core Worlds Confederacy, so nobody's really expecting aid out in these worlds. Utapau, Arnoth, or Partron. Hutt space, even though the worlds themselves that the Hutts originated on are gone, and Darth Nihilus killed a lot of Hutts. Hutts are resourceful and enduring, so it did take a couple centuries for them to rebuild this empire, but of course it appears that their main purpose in doing so is to regain everything they lost as quickly and brutally as possible. Thankfully, we have not encountered any of that in the section that we're going to be starting on, which happens to be, okay, just check this real quick. Can't remember the details of every planet, unfortunately.
Why not?
I try, man. The galaxy just got too big. Astronomical object.
Yeah, so I was looking up aggregate worlds to try and pick one that he was from, and it's not even on this map. It's in the U7 sector, but it's not on there.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, there's a ton of worlds that didn't even make the map too, but they do get grid reference. Star Wars Atlas is a very cool book. What the hell is this? Well, I don't want to use that because that just sounds weird. Okay. Another astronomical object. Huh. Well, I'm just going the wrong fucking way here. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's just how it's gonna be. They're not giving a lot of options out there, so I think that's what they're telling us. We are starting off on Trongar, which is essentially an asteroid, a habitable asteroid, but definitely not the ideal location where most people would choose to make their home. For one reason or another, whether your character has been here for a long time, is just arriving, whatever the case may be. This is, of course, being in the Outer Rim, extremely lawless, extremely dangerous. And we'll take a break right here. I'm going to kind of put all of our character ideas and all of this in the hopper and come up with some potential here over the break here. We'll play a little bit longer, actually get into character itself before we close out tonight. Next Thursday, of course, for May the 4th, our first full campaign session here. But in the meantime, we'll see you in about 10 minutes or so, friends.
Already.
I'm still here. I just have like 10 other things going on while we're doing this.
Understandable.
Can someone repeat the name of the asteroid he said we're starting on? I missed it.
Drongar. It's in the T5 square.
Alright, cool. I always forget to set my mouse up before I do this. The trackpad is terrible for these maps. It's so quiet. I'm getting nervous. Somebody say something.
Something.
Thank you. I feel better. So am I the only one that didn't buy extra gear with the starter credits?
I suspect as much.
Yeah, I bought some extra gear, but yeah, but I always do that.
I bought tape. You always need tape.
You think I'm making a mistake just keeping the base gear?
You could always buy shit later. Besides, this means that you're the rich one.
I feel super rich with my less than 2,000 credits.
We're gonna be hitting you up for loans.
Bro, I've got 80 credits.
Look at the rich man over here. I got 15.
I'm trying to walk a new player through the character mancer, but it's like, dude, that thing's wonky on a good day. I don't know how to help you with that.
According to the services and expenses page, I can afford 1 day of an average meal and an average lodging. And then that's it. Sean, I'm sorry to tell you, but you can't even afford the budget lodging, so you're going to be sleeping on the street.
Yeah.
You can afford a taxi if it's a local ride. It's only 10.
I'll loan anybody credits, but my return favors probably aren't worth it in the end.
In that case, can I have the credits for some heavy armor?
We'll see. I don't know, how much is it?
Kind of varies between 25 or $45,000, or looks like the cheapest is 9,000.
I'm gonna need a kidney and at least half of your liver.
Take the full liver. It's probably not doing anything anyway.
So who has actually done one of the Star Wars tabletops before? Because this is my first time.
I think Nisha did something similar.
Almost, but the campaign fell through due to issues between the DM for it and another player. They had some erping drama going off to the side, and Ninja got caught up in the fallout of that. I never got to use him because both of them were trying to drag me into it, trying to get me to pick a side, and I refused to pick a side. I just walked, and the campaign collapsed about a day later.
Wow, that
Yeah,
sucks.
fair enough.
At least your GM didn't go fucking hissy fit and say like, "All right, fuck it, the Yuuzhan Vong win. You guys suck."
Well, nah, you're fine. You that it was. I'll put it this way. There's a reason I don't get involved in this kind of storylines, the Erping kind, because it almost always goes to hell, and so I try to avoid it whenever possible because again, it always goes to hell, and neither one of them had the maturity to know to just walk away.
Which kind of storyline was it? Did you say, or did I miss it?
It was actually going to be taking place between the Clone Wars and the original movies, as in like around the same point in time as Star Wars Rebels,
Okay.
but just in a different point in the galaxy. But it was around that same time frame. But it so as a character, he's been kind of bumped around to various time periods
Hmm.
and settings. But yeah, yeah.
Well, all right. Who wants to play?
I'm up for it.
I need to burn a few orphanages and kick a few puppies so I can wear some Orbalisk armor. That sound good?
Orbalisk armor. Holy shit! Well, you're close,
Yeah.
dude. We just gotta take a quick jump over to here,
I've always been a fan of Darth Bane.
or we can go over here. Either of the Sith home worlds will fit the bill. Just go jump right into the Orbalisk pit and see if you survive.
Gotta get 11 dark side points first, though. So, like I said,
Yes.
orphanages and puppies.
Unfortunately, it was a Sith orphanage. You have gained 6 light side points.
I'm not sure if I like that. The light side's cool with that.
Well, at this point in time.
I need to have a word with the Force real quick.
Look, hello, this is the Force.
You're fucked up, bro.
Well, I know that. What else is new?
All right, at least he owns up to it.
So here we are in a cantina on the asteroid of Drongar with a great view of utter black space here
A view of
on
not a damn thing.
all sides of us.
It's the restaurant at the end of the universe.
Exactly, yes! Oh, I can't wait till I get those. I ordered the original Hitchhiker's Guide from Amazon, like the original 1983 version or something. I haven't seen it in so long.
Nice.
Can't wait. And I gotta get the new one too, or the newer one that came out in like 04 or whatever. I've only seen it once. Alright, so here in the cantina on Drongar, this is not a common occurrence, but this is generally how such dealings begin anyway. The cantina is currently maybe about, that doesn't help me right there, maybe about a dozen people in here in total aside from yourselves. And whether you're all sitting at the same table or just here in the same cantina, kind of irrelevant at this stage, as a well-known individual enters and all eyes turn to him, because it is usually known that when this guy comes in, work is not too far behind. He is a Twi'lek, a kind of pale gray-skinned Twi'lek, not the most common color tone that you see on them. Rumor has it at one point in this guy's life, he actually spent upwards of a century frozen in carbonite, and the ensuing grayness on his skin is the result of such a wonderful nap. But this guy is known as Grimark. He is second in command to the local crime lord Jormy. And when Grimark steps into the cantina, he just looks over the assembled and asks simply, "Who wants work?"
I start walking over.
A few others are also standing out of their chairs and hastily making their way over, just kind of forming a semicircle around. I'm like, yeah, what's up? What's happening?
I followed
Move
Tony.
over there.
I've only got room for 4. Let's
Yeah, I'm
see.
definitely going over there.
All right. Oh, haven't seen you around here in some time. He looks over at the female Trandoshan. Oh, let's see. Today's work shall be for... And he points at 4 individuals in the cantina who coincidentally happen to be the 4 of you.
Oh, good. I was going to kill whoever was.
Assuming that all 4 of you have stepped up in search of work. If one of you is sitting down, of course, you are not selected. Very good, then. Come to my office. We shall discuss details.
Yeah, following him along.
Given her backstory, would Tress know this guy?
Oh, she definitely knows who he is. Most people on this asteroid know who he is. They're pretty familiar with the the rumor of his carbonite freeze. That's pretty standard knowledge as well. He's also known to be quite rich and wealthy as second in command to the local crime boss. And he leads you down the street to where a speeder is waiting, and he steps into the passenger seat, a droid occupying the pilot seat, and he gestures to the back seats for the 4 of you.
I mean, I'll sit as close as I can to the guy.
Show.
Tress is gonna stay by the door.
All right.
I'll get in.
Cool.
Just kind of leaning on the wall next to the door.
Not getting into the speeder, you mean?
I guess.
Okay. So, it is just a quick jaunt up the street into the fortified structure, the largest complex on the asteroid itself, the base of crime lord Jormy. He is rarely seen. When he is seen, it's typically for... You wouldn't imagine an asteroid would have too many of them, but... Or you might imagine they'd have a lot of them. Local holidays. Jormy is a party fiend. He comes out for all of these things, but otherwise is generally not seen too much around the asteroid here. And upon arriving through the secure gates, guards make sure to check over all of you as Grimark kind of gives the, "Yes, they are with me." And we drive into the complex itself, where a small structure is set up just outside here in this courtyard. The vehicle pulls up. Grimark escorts you into his office. "Before we begin, Does anybody care for a refreshment?
Gar raises his hand.
Grimmark gestures over at his Twi'lek assistant here, who, of course, is a blue-skinned Twi'lek who definitely draws a few eyes everywhere she goes, and he will have one. Any others of you?
I'll try one.
Tress shakes her head no.
Good. Oh, of course, that is fine. All right, we will have 3 and 1 for myself, please. Yes, it is quite a thirsty day. After drinks are brought, salute. Nice burn going down. Nice instant intoxication. We have need of a transport crew to head to the world of Ziost. It is not too far away from here. Have any of you been to this world before?
No. Yeah, I've been to Trandosha and I've been here.
Tress raises her hand.
You have. Good. You are quite aware then that it is not a hospitable planet. Quite a few dangerous critters running around there. And maybe 1 or 2 ghost stories to go along with it as well. I'm uncertain why this is the planet that is chosen for the site, but I do not make such decisions. We do have a contact that will be meeting you on Ziost with a very important shipment. I must verify your absolute trust in this endeavor. As such, a few unorthodox precautions must be taken. However, you will be compensated for such inconvenience, assuming that you are workers of your word.
What kind of precaution?
Not a
Well,
microbomb in the neck, is it? I hate when they do that.
oh dear, I'm afraid you have me dead to rights. It is
God damn it.
it is a necklace, a clasp that you must wear around your neck. It will allow us to track your location. And should you venture too far outside of the quadrant, the loss of connection will cause these devices to detonate. It is a precaution that must be taken, as we do not have experience working with you, and we are relying on your discretion and speed and honor to return this shipment to us.
All right, what kind of compensation are we talking about here?
There are 4 of you here. Do you have a ship among your number?
I'm looking around.
Gar shrugs.
Tress shakes her head no.
Oh dear. Well, yes, we can provide a ship for rental for this mission. It is not the greatest of transports, but it will suffice to get you there and back at least. Hopefully you do not encounter any space battles between here and there. It is not quite combat worthy, I should say. But compensation, I can offer 1,500 credits for each of you.
I mean, as long as those necklaces don't, go off when they're not supposed to.
How far is the
wear
cargo going, though?
100 credits.
Can I try to use my gather information skill to get more details out of him?
You can. What are you? What would you like to ask?
Why the need for the necklaces? Who else did this that we now require these necklaces?
Oh, how many people have betrayed Jormy? Oh, goodness. Fortunately, the number is fewer each cycle, but some do still think that they are wilier than we are, I should say. You do understand our investments must be protected. We are giving loan of a ship and putting a valuable shipment beyond that into your hands.
What's in this shipment?
Oh, I dare say I am not at liberty to disclose this. Suffice to say, it is not anything that will cause danger to those transporting it, but it is immensely valuable.
And how far is it going?
I do not understand the question.
Like, where are we taking it?
Oh, yes, you are. I'm not sure why I became Merdian all of a sudden. You are taking it, you are bringing it back here to Drongar. It is a simple, pick up and return mission.
So there and back again.
A hobbit's tale.
You expecting any trouble with this shipment?
I do not expect any trouble, but there has been trouble getting it to this point so far, which I do believe is why the remote location was selected. You are, I assume, wise enough to always be on your guard, but I do not expect anything terribly difficult at this juncture.
And how delicate is the cargo? Do we have to worry about any kind of explosions or breakage?
I would not set off any bombs around the crate itself, but loading it should not be an issue. If for some reason you need to make some fancy flying maneuvers while you have the package on board, it should be okay.
Fair enough.
He kind of looks over at the others in the group. Was there anything else you wanted to ask him as far as gather info there, Amber?
He said we were renting the ship. How much is the rental going to cost us?
Oh, it is not. It will not cost you anything. It is just a courtesy. Of course, we cannot ask you to do this mission if we cannot also provide you with the tools to do so.
Just making sure. It was established like that I'm the only one with credit, so I had to make sure.
How many credits do you have? It conveniently costs that much.
4.
Better not cost more than $1,000. That's all I brought with me. That's exactly how much it costs.
Now, you said that the ship that you're giving us probably won't survive much trouble in space. Like, does it have other options in case we do run into trouble?
There is a jettison pod inside of it. I do so hope you are not put in a position where you are forced to eject and survive in that. However, not only would it require potentially abandoning the package, but I just cannot imagine.
Well, it sounds like all the more reason that you should maybe give us a slightly better ship, something with, a cannon on it at least.
Oh yes, if only I were a ship salesman or had a lot of ships to loan out. This is unfortunately all we have for this mission.
Nija had specific questions in the Roll20.
Yeah. Oh dear, this is what they unfortunately in your line of work refer to as a junker. It is a hodgepodge of some of this ship, some of that ship. You find plenty of them around in the galaxy, of course. Some function better than others. This one is simply a transport vehicle. We do not use it for combat or anything in that respect.
All right, well, you want this important cargo back so badly, but you're not giving us a whole lot to work with.
Well, what else can I tell you? Any other questions you have, I'm happy to answer within reason. I cannot tell you what the package is you are delivering, but otherwise, I think the information you have gained is pretty standard for the amount you are being compensated.
What kind of opposition are we facing here?
We have had trouble. Oh yeah, this is a good one. We have had trouble with some Rhodians. A swoop gang in particular on the location where the package was... You know the last 2 locations that the package was transported and relayed. We have not had any sighting or encounters with them in at least 6 cycles, however, so our current transport crew does believe they have lost the pursuers for now, but any shifty... Oh dear. Isn't that just kind of on the nose? Any shifty-looking Rhodians you happen to see, however, I would be on extra precaution.
All right, Swift gang, got it.
And as much as
We
I
also
doubt it...
make any mechanical repairs to the ship.
I am sorry, what about repairs?
Are we authorized to make any mechanical repairs or modifications to the ship if we need to?
Repairs, yes. Modifications, not my forte. Perhaps it will be something the boss likes. Perhaps it will be something that angers him. You never know. Depends on the day. And as much as I doubt that you will encounter resistance, if somehow you do come afoul of these Rhodians and find them perished in the course of your interactions, there is a bounty offered for them. So,
It's pretty much already my plan.
The bounty? How much?
we are offering 200 credits per confirmation of death. We do not require their carcasses, their corpses. You do not need to dispense with such unpleasantries. What we require simply is a hologram of proof of their death.
You got a data pad we can borrow for that?
I think I can salvage something up for you, yes.
Good.
I don't know. For 200 credits, I might stuff them and haul them back here. You put up on your mantle or something.
Oh, so distasteful. Jormy so despises violence and bloodshed. He wishes everyone would just conduct themselves like proper gentle beings. He does offer many great opportunities such as this, and yet betrayal is to be found at every turn.
On that note, any reward for any brought back alive?
Alive? An interesting prospect.
I'm sure you'd want to know who's been after your cargo and all that. I'm sure you could find ways to get that sort of information from them.
If you have ways of bringing back one of these filth alive and intact, I do believe Jormy would be quite pleased with this. Most of our hunters that we send out are not quite as capable.
Consider it done.
Oh, confidence. Yes, this is what we like to hear. I knew I had a good feeling choosing the four of you. And that droid right there, what is that droid doing? It is remarkably still. It is active. Will not be active
No.
until Whip Around shows up.
Well, if it's if we gain the undying gratitude of the local employment, and local employer, then hey, I'll certainly make the attempt.
I'm very
Alright,
happy with what I hear.
I'm up for this. What's the contact's name?
The contact's name, yes, let me check my information. Make sure I do not give you the guy who had it before him. So many people this is transferring to, so much unnecessary information. Oh, yes, of course, it is the unpronounceable one. Oh, the Ithorian, yes. Please do not take this as the proper pronunciation. I would recommend you not try to pronounce their name. They may get upset, sensitive about such things. I'm Makar. I'm Imakar. I do.
Spell it out for us.
It is I M with the apostrophe, and then MKAR.
All right, I'm gonna go with Imakar.
I have not. This is the first time I have tried to say it out loud. I've said it in my head many times. It does not sound right any time, especially when they say it. But with the four throats, it is nobody can replicate such.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Some people have weird names, Greemark.
Yes, not normal like you and I. Wait a minute.
Actually, on that note, I just got a call from my girlfriend. I gotta go pick her up, so I'm gonna have to dip.
No worries. We can hop onto the ship here and kick this thing off to officially begin our May the 4th stuff next week. Thanks all for being here tonight, finishing up with the character creation and all, and nice to get some personality behind these characters in the short scene that we constructed here. And next week, Ziost! And possibly some dice rolls.
Looking forward to it.
Likewise, friends, and don't miss us tomorrow for the triple raffle. Are you coins, Egyptian-themed dice cups, or a one-on-one session with the Fat Man himself? Until then, we'll catch you tomorrow night, friends, for the doubleheader. Enjoy your evening. Are you with us?
Bye.
Good night, guys.